Hi everybody, it's David. I'm walking you through the pairing process for discounters. So what you're going to want to have handy is the pairing demo file so that you can just copy and paste the formulas that I've already written instead of having to write the formulas yourself. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, as always, I'm going to create a copy of the sheet I'm currently working on so that if I make a mistake, I can just go back. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these scales. So select A1 through L4 and copy, and I'm going to go ahead and paste. Then I'm going to auto-fit just so that I take up less space. Next I'm going to select columns A through L and select column AA and click insert. So I selected columns A through L, I copied, selected column AA, hit insert. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and insert a row on top. And I'm going to go ahead and label these so that I just know what I'm working with here. So this is my original inventory. If I could spell, that would be cool. Inventory, cool. This middle one is going to be pairs within group. Or I'll call them sets within group. And this last one here I'll call my remaining inventory, or just remaining. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the formulas in the remaining section. So I'm going to go ahead into my pairing demo file. Alright, so in my pairing demo file, I'm going to go ahead into the pairing sheet. And I'm going to go ahead and select AC6. So cell AC6, I'm going to right click, copy. Then I'm going to go ahead into my book one, the one I'm working on right now. And I'm going to go ahead into that cell, right click, and paste f of x. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead into the bottom right hand corner of the cell, click, and drag. And so what you'll notice is if you've done this correctly, none of the numbers should change, none of the coloring should change, the font, nothing should change. It should look exactly the same, except there's now a formula in there. Now you'll see why that's useful in a second. But first what I'm going to do is, while I have this section selected, so row 6 from columns AC to AL, I'm going to go ahead and copy, so Control C. And I'm going to select from AC7 all the way down through the rest of the remaining section. And I'm going to go ahead and right click. And again, make sure you're clicking paste F formulas, F of X. So click OK. And once again, you'll see all this 19 matches this 19, this 25 here matches this 25 here. So right now it's pulling those numbers. And so now you can begin the pairing process. Now we always match our bikinis first. So the only bikini I see here is the B63. So I'm going to go ahead and select the row with the B63 in it. And make sure you're always selecting from the remaining side, not from the original inventory side. That's really important to remember. So on the pulling from the remaining, I'm also going to, now I'm going to hold control. So, okay, first select this, hold control, select a proper size scale, and I'm going to go ahead and take, let's do the P20. Again, I'm still holding control. Now once I've selected all 3 rows that I want, I can let go of control. Now I'm going to copy, so Control C and Control V. Now once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and resize column N so I can see what the style numbers are. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to match these with the minimum. So here it's 0 and 0, 0, 0. The minimum of 2 and 112 is going to be 2. Here the minimum is 6. Go ahead and delete this. A 1, delete, delete. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to hit equals sum, and then I can just press the arrow key, hold shift, and keep pressing the arrow key until I go all the way up to the color. Don't include the color because then you'll just start adding 80 units. Close parenthesis and hit enter. So now what you'll notice is there are no more remaining B63s. And what you'll also notice is the P20 is down by 9. So it went from 158 to 149. And you can see the 112 went down by 2. This 2 right here to get 110. So on and so forth. So that's one example of pairing. Now make sure whenever you do this, you can copy and paste like I showed you. So doing this, holding control, selecting the next section, so on and so forth. But if you're pulling rows that are contiguous, so for example, when I go to pull out these guys, when I go to pull out these cover-ups, I don't need to separate them out. I can just pull them all. If I just do copy and paste the normal way, this is what'll happen. You'll notice I'll get all these pound signs or hashtags, and that's unfortunate and really not helpful. So I'm going to undo that. So when you're copying and pasting contiguous rows, you need to make sure you go ahead and right click, paste values, right click, paste formatting. And so now you have all the numbers you want. These have now gone to 0, and now you have them in your sets within group. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to deal with D cups and E cups. It's the same idea, same premise. So what you're going to go ahead and do is select this. So I'm going to select my top. I'm going to go ahead and select the proper size breakdown. So I'll do these contiguously. Then what I'm going to go ahead and do is grab a bottom. So let's take the P84. And again, I'm still holding control throughout all of this. And now I also need a size scale for the P84. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And remember, because all of these are not contiguous to one another, I can go ahead and just Control C and Control V. Now once I've done that, it's the same process, I'm just going to change this to whichever is the least. So go ahead and 3, 5, 16, 6, delete. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that sum formula I used, Control C. And I'm going to go ahead and just paste it in both of those right there. So now once again you can see the D18 is lessened by 38. But what we also want to do is make sure the top is physically above the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and just select the top here. My D18, I'm going to hit Control X, so cut. Click right where it says style, and I'm going to go ahead and click insert. And what you notice is it now puts it on top. So you're going to go ahead and do that through the entire process. And what you'll notice is as I go further down, I'm going to have to keep scrolling up. So in order to deal with that, what you need to do is if you want this to come lower, to go ahead and select from A1 through here. Let's just go down 24 rows. Then I'm going to hold Control, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. The exact same number of rows. Make sure it's the exact same number of rows. So now I'm going to go ahead and click the drop down, insert cells, and make sure you shift cells down. If you don't click the drop down, it'll automatically shift them left or right. I can't remember which it does. I think it'll shift them right, which is going to cause a lot of headache. So just go ahead and tick off this box that says shift cells down and click OK. And so now you're working with these in open space. So you don't have to keep scrolling up and down. You just need to keep sort of shifting the original inventory and the remaining sides down until you're done with that group. And then hopefully you're in a good spot and you can just keep shifting down as need be. So that's the pairing part. So this is the process you'll use through pairing with in-groups. The next video will walk you through how to do it going back to basic bottoms.